welcome to episode 6 of World Tour on Football Manager 2021. And today's episode is going to be a bit different to normal. It's our season review episode of Season 1. Not just Season 1 in charge of Chennai City, but our first season overall on the game itself. And in this episode, we are going to look at the stats for each of our players from this season and take a look at end of season awards as well and see how players have developed over the course of the season. So we'll just start off by looking at a few stats for the squad. So you can see that the player that's had the most appearances this season is Charles Andraj, who's played 22 times. He has been a stalwart in the centre of midfield. Not far behind him is Felix Nixon and Mario Dasan, our two centre-backs, and of course Pratik Kumar Singh, who was our first choice goalkeeper this season. Our top goal scorer by some way, but still not getting as many goals as I would have liked, is the Prince. Of course, he started off very well, but could only manage 7 goals all season. He was a bit different, wasn't as good when he returned from his stub toe injury, which made him miss 3 games. But 7 goals out of 18 games isn't too bad, I guess. I think maybe we need to look at getting a good possible partner, maybe a backup striker for him. Of course, we had Robin Singh. We still have Robin Singh technically, but he didn't score. He didn't score a goal. He only played 6 times off the bench, but still didn't score a goal. I would have expected more from him. And then, of course, looking further down the goal scorer charts, we've got Lijo Francis, who was our right winger. He's got 4 goals and did a pretty good job as well. And then Varun Mather, centre midfielder, and Praveto Raju, who didn't play that many games but still managed to get 3 goals for us. 2 of them, of course, coming from free kicks. He seems to be a sort of specialist at that. And then if we look at the goals per 90 minutes as well, the Prince leading that one with 0.42 goals per 90. Now this one's quite interesting. It kind of shows that the goals that we conceded weren't all caused by mistakes. Not very many of them, at least. There's only 3 goals that were caused by mistakes by individual players. And those players each had 1 mistake. And they were Mather, our centre midfielder, Mario Dasan at centre back, and Raju, our right winger. So it's not too bad. It just suggests that our defence haven't been able to cope with the opposition's attacks. It's not been that we've handed goals to the teams, which is a positive. Most assists this season is also the Prince. He got 6 assists, by far and away the most assists out of our team. The second place is Lijo Francis, and he only had 2. And then we've got quite a few players who had 1 assist. So the Prince, not just scoring goals, but also making them. So perhaps I was a bit harsh on him by saying that it was a bit poor of him to only score 7 goals this season when he's actually helped in 13 goals. And of course, that means that he leads the way in number of assists per 90 minutes as well, with 0.36 assists per 90. In overall number of chances created, it's pretty low. We've got 5 players that have created 1 chance. Kieran Das, technically top there. Don't know how he's managed to pull that off, but the other players are Lijo Francis, Raju, Balakrishnan and Nganga, which suggests that the social feed in the game, the people on there have been correct when they've been saying that we've not been creating enough chances. As you can see here, 5 players creating 1 chance. Not great. Pass completion ratio, Vineeth Kumar is technically in the lead there, but he only made 1 substitute appearance, so we'll not really count him. The Prince, I would say, is in the lead again there, with 93% of his passes being completed. Not far behind is Susadamai and Nganga. Leading the dribbles made per game stat is Lijo Francis, who of course is our right winger, and he does love a dribble. He loses the ball quite a bit, but 0.86 dribbles per game for him. And then Raju just behind, who has been playing in place of Francis at times this season. At other times he's been playing on the opposite wing to him, but 0.73 dribbles made per game for him too, which is what you would expect really. You'd expect your 2 wingers to be making the most dribbles out of anyone on the team. And then goals conceded, this one's just for the keepers. And as there was only 1 keeper that played for us, Pratik Kumar Singh conceded 26 goals in 20 games this season, conceding an average of 1.3 goals per 90 minutes. I think ideally as a keeper you'd probably want that to be below 1, but we can't have everything, and he is still young, so he's still learning. Now for top of the mischief makers, and that award goes to, at least for yellow cards, Jude Felix Nixon, who picked up a total of 4 yellow cards this season. Mario Dasan picked up 3, 2 centre-backs, you would expect them to be making tackles and possibly giving fouls away and getting yellow carded. So it's not a surprise to see those two up there. One positive stat for the season though, no red cards. We did have a few suspensions, but that was because of accumulations of yellow cards picked up, but nobody got sent off on our team, despite the fact that I think we've got a pretty aggressive side, if I remember correctly from individuals' attributes. And looking at the minutes per game now, there's two players that lead the way on this. They are Kumar Singh, who of course is our goalkeeper. He's very likely to get 90 minutes every single game because it's rare that you see a goalkeeper get substituted. But in second place is Francis Nganga. He played 90 minutes per game. He didn't get subbed in any of the games that he played in. And not far behind him are our two solid defenders, Felix Nixon and Mario Dassan, who rarely got subbed. Leading the way on the Player of the Match awards is Mario Dassan. He got 5 this season, quite far ahead of second place, joint second place, Lijo Francis and Charles Andraj. And then we have 4 players on 1, Mather, Felix Nixon, the Prince, and Nganga. And then taking that into account, if you look at average ratings, Mario Dassan leads the way once again, 7.4 average rating. He has been solid as a rock at the back and has helped us immensely in our pursuit to finishing 5th in the league this season. But there are a few others with an average rating of over 7. We've got Felix Nixon, VJN, Nganga, the Prince, Suse Demai, Sriram Bupathy, and Lijo Francis. So all very good indeed for them. So we'll now take a look at the individual players, how their attributes have got on this season, and we'll probably just do this for the players that have played the majority of our games this season. So we start with our goalkeeper, Pratik Kumar Singh, 21-year-old goalkeeper. It seems that his leadership has gone up. I can't remember what all of his stats were, all of his attributes were, sorry, at the beginning of the season. I'm not sure if any of them have changed apart from leadership. Yeah, so apparently this is just recent attribute changes, but his leadership's gone up to 3, which isn't great. But if you look at his other goalkeeping attributes, his technical ones, especially his handling and kicking, are pretty great. Reflexes of 13 as well. He's not very eccentric, which I think was a problem with our original first choice goalkeeper, Shabalal Maloli. So yeah, he's coming on well. Then we have Mario Dassan, the 23-year-old centre-back, one of our best players this season. You can see quite a lot of his technical attributes have gone down. His dribbling, first touch, long shots and passing. This is more than likely because he has just been playing in a defensive role, and basically booting the ball away has been what he's been up to. His marking has gone up, which is good as a defender. His heading's still out of this world. Tackling could do with a bit more work as well, but those attributes that have gone down I'm not too concerned about. Composure has gone down too, and teamwork, which is a bit concerning. Stamina, agility and acceleration have all gone down as well. I'd quite like him to work on his acceleration and agility, as I think that's something key for a centre-back, especially in a league where there's going to be lots of long balls played over the top. You're going to have to chase the attackers. Then we have his centre-back partner, Jude Felix Nixon. He's improved his teamwork to 3, apparently, recently. His heading is great, tackling great. It's just his marking that he needs to work on in terms of technicals. In terms of his physicals, his acceleration and agility are great, 12 there, and stamina of 10 is pretty decent too. Possibly could do with getting a bit stronger, but as he's 28 years old, he's getting towards the end. Well, he's not getting towards the end of his career. He's probably got another 7 years left. But yeah, he could maybe work on his strength. We'll take a look at Nikhil Raji. He, of course, only played twice for us in first team football last season. There's no improvements made recently. His tackling is his standout attribute. Marking is pretty decent at 7. His heading is good at 6 as well. Passing of 6 too. He's only 16 years old. Plenty of time for him to improve. He could probably do with getting his strength up a little bit and his acceleration and agility as well with being a left back. But yeah, he's coming on a bit. We'll see how he gets on in the next season or so. Next up is Balakrishnan, who of course will be leaving us at the end of the season. His attributes, he's gone up with his first touch, his penalty taken and his tackling in terms of his technical skills. His crossing is nothing to write home about. Marking, pretty great at 9. Passing at 9 too. Like I said, tackling gone up, but it's still not very good. Not great decision making either, and his acceleration is lacking too. Agility is quite good, but needs acceleration with that agility. And like I said, he's not going to be here next season. BJ Chetri only played once, only started once for us, had a few substitute appearances. His technicals, he's looking at his heading of 6 is okay, I guess. Nothing else that stands out. He's 19 years old. He's got a little bit of time to develop still. Still quite determined with 13 determination, but his natural fitness has gone down. Still 16 though, so that's pretty good. I imagine that's just because he's got a little bit older. Could do with improving his strength, especially if he wants to be a centre back. Of course, we've been playing him at right back, and a very defensive right back. So all he really needs there is marking, tackling, and decisions, and his decisions are quite good as well. So he's going to be with us next season. So we'll see how he develops if he gets a chance to play, which he might do, whilst as Balakrishnan is going to be out the door, and I'm not sure we've got many options at right back. We're taking a look at Francis Nganga, the 35-year-old left back. He's still improving. He's 35 and he is still improving. His crossing's gone up to 13. His finishing up to 6. Free kick taking's 11. Just look at all those technical attributes that have gone up. He's nearly all in the green technically. His bravery has gone down 1, or a little bit, down to 13. But the majority of his mental attributes have also gone up. His stamina's gone down as well, but I assume that's with age. So we'll see how he comes back after he's recovered from his sports hernia. But very pleased with the way that his attributes are going, especially given his age. Ahmed Rasheed, he's not had any recent attribute changes, but his heading, marking and tackling are all pretty decent. He's got good decision making as well, which is what we like to see in centre backs. His acceleration and agility is good too. Stamina could do with some work, especially strength as well for a centre back. He's only got 3 strength. He looks like he'll probably get blown over if a striker just runs past him, but definitely something to work on. He's going to be with us for a couple more seasons. We'll see if he can get more game time. Obviously, he has to try and find space in the first 11 by pushing out either Felix Nixon or Mario Dassan, which is no mean feat. It's some mean feat indeed if he could manage to do that. Charles Andraj, he was one of our players with the most appearances this season, despite his lack of technical ability. Really, he's good enough for winning the ball back, which is pretty much what we had him doing. 12 tackling there. He's very determined. He's got good leadership skills as well, and he does put the effort in with his work rate. But most of his attributes wouldn't suggest that he'd be one of our automatic starters. But we'll see how he gets on in the next season. He's 29 years old, so I don't imagine much room for growth in any of these attributes, and he could find himself playing a bit less next year. I want another centre midfielder, Sriram Bupathy. In terms of recent attribute changes, it's only his decision making that's gone up a little bit. He's on 5 there, which isn't great, but he has got decent long shots, decent marking, and 10 tackling is pretty good. Other attributes in technicals, crossing, finishing, free kick taking, heading, penalty taking are all average, pretty okay. Mentally, he's in the middle ground of aggression. He's very determined, which should help with further improvements, I would hope. And his stamina's great as well, so he's not going to get tired. I think I've been playing him quite a lot as a box-to-box midfielder, so that stamina attribute works well there, and he'll probably play around the same amount of games as he did this season next. Now for VJT, no recent attribute changes, but his first touch has always been great. 11 first touch, 8 passing is pretty good. Technique of 7 as well. He's made quite a few substitute appearances. 11. He's started 3 games. 26 years old. I'm not sure where he's going to fit in next season. He's obviously going to, if he does play, he's going to play at centre midfield, but I'm not sure how many games he's going to get just yet. We have to see what sort of transfer business we can do in the summer with the financial restrictions that are no doubt going to be placed on us. And it could be that VJT moves into play more than Andraj. I'm not quite sure yet. Now Praveto Raju, of course, he's played 7 times this season. He'll probably play a bit more next season, especially until we get our new signing in, Christian Saba, who of course will be taking Jackson Dass's place. So Jackson Dass, our left winger, is leaving us at the end of the season, but Christian Saba doesn't come in until the 25th of December. We'll have played a few games before that time. So Raju will be taking that left wing place, and we'll be hoping to nail it down before Christian Saba can come in. So we'll see how he does. But in terms of his attributes, he's been improving quite a lot. His dribbling's up to 5, first touch up to 4, free kick taking's up to 7, heading up to 5. Free kick taking's probably the only one there that's pretty decent, but it's good that he's growing in his attributes. His long shots of 9 are nice. Other attributes technically wanting a bit, but first team football might help him improve that. Well, will help him improve that. Another centre midfielder, and we do seem to have quite a lot of centre midfielders, but this one, Varun Mather, he got himself a few goals this season. He played half of our league games. It's his passing, really, that's the standout attribute here. That's the reason that he was put on. I believe I was playing him in the attacking centre midfield role, the centre midfield with an attack duty on, and that was mainly so you could just pass balls well to the wingers and to the strikers, and he managed to get himself a few goals as well, like I said. So a good performance from him this season. He'll probably play around the same amount of time next season too. Now for the other VJN. Now he didn't get much game time this season. He only played 3 times, came off the bench twice, but his determination has gone up. In terms of his technical attributes, his marking is okay, his first touch is pretty good. He's got no real standout ones though, so I'm not sure he'll get any further game time next season. Of course, he's injured at the moment. Injury picked up in an under-18s game, sprained ankle. He's going to be out for between 9 days and 3 weeks. We'll see how he comes back after that injury. But yeah, I don't think he's going to get much more game time than he did this season. Lijo Francis, our right winger, only 21 years old, and his first touch and technique are obviously the standout technical attributes there. His passing is okay, dribbling is okay too. Obviously, he made the most dribbles per game in the stats that we looked at a bit earlier, so he should be improving in his dribbling, I imagine, over the course of the next season or so. His determination is good at 15, which means that he should be improving more on his other attributes too, and he's gonna be our starting right winger next season, no matter what happens. I would say he was labelled as our hot prospect when we first signed, and you can see why. And finally, we take a look at the man, the myth, the legend, the Prince. So no recent attribute changes for the Prince. Of course, he played quite a few games last season, only missing out the 3 that he was injured for with his stub toe. And you can see his standout attribute is obviously his penalty taken of 13. For some reason, he wasn't set as penalty taker. That was my bad. So I had to change that quite quickly in one of the games that we played. But his finishing of 8 is pretty decent. Heading and long shots are decent too. Free kick taken and first touch, and dribbling and passing as well. He's 28 years old, so there's a little bit of room for growth, I would imagine, and we just hope to not see his attributes go down, at least for the next season. I feel like we can possibly win the league next season, given what I've seen this season and how close it can be in an 11-team league. I don't see why we can't win the league and get out of India after 2 years, but this man is going to be key, and him staying as good as he currently is also going to be key to that. So let's now take a look at the team stats for the Indian National Football League, see if we appear in the top 8 or so for the league. And we do in the most shots, 212, we come 3rd in that. Only 43% on target, I assume that is. Yeah, 43% on target, which is not great. But we do have the second fewest shots against, so we've been stopping our opponents from getting shots against us quite well. 147 shots against in 20 matches. We also host the best pass completion ratio, which our board will enjoy very much, 86%. They'll also enjoy the fact that we are best at keeping possession with 59% average possession across the course of the season. Of course, that is a part of our club culture, that we need to play possession football, and the fact that we finish top of that will help me with the board very much. We made the second most amount of dribbles this season, 32, in second place to Naraka, who had 37. I imagine Lijo Francis and, well, all of our wingers, Das Francis and Raju, will have helped immensely with those dribbles. We were joined 3rd in clean sheets alongside Mohammedan and TRAU with 6 clean sheets out of the 20, and joint 3rd again in fewest number of goals conceded with 26 alongside TRAU and Real Kashmir. I'm just looking at the goal scorers stats. That is just ridiculous. You can see why TRAU finished where they did. They got two of their strikers in the top three of the goal scorer chart, but one of them just running away with it. Komran Tursunov, who I think scored a goal or two against us in the second match that we played against TRAU. We got 22 goals this season. Unbelievable. Rajesh as well scored against us. Olalei scored against us. Ndika scored against us. I remember Jobby Justin scored against us as well. So no Chennai City players in that list. Most assists though, the Prince comes joint third in that list with 6 assists alongside few players from Naraka, Kashmir, Gokulam Kerala and TRAU. The Prince also comes 5th in the most shots list with 51 shots, but still quite some way off the top goal scorer in the league, Komran Tursunov. Pradesan Maria Dasan comes 3rd in the most player of the match awards with 4, but again, some way off Tursunov's 9. And we've got 2 players who appear in the best pass completion percentage, which is what you would expect given we had the best pass completion percentage as a team. So the Prince is in 3rd with 92% of his passes hitting their marker, and Rajivan Susademai is also in 5th with 92%. But the Prince had 33 key passes. Wow. Yeah, that's why he's above the other players that have 92% then. I was wondering why that was. Most dribbles made, Lijio Francis is 2nd in the league, only to Labek Chow Maitai of Naroka with 15 dribbles made. Raju also makes the top 8 with 6 dribbles made, but that's nothing compared to Francis and Maitai. Pratik Kumar Singh comes joint second on the most number of clean sheets with 6 alongside Gurpreet Singh of TRAU and Amrinder Singh of Punjab FC. And we don't appear in the final stat of fewest conceded. Now, we may not have made any money for finishing 5th in the National Football League, but we sure do pay out the money. We pay out £12,000 to the squad and backroom staff for finishing 5th in the National Football League. Just looking at our finances for a second, you can see that next season's minimum guaranteed budget will be £45,000, which is more than we got when we were first hired. So that's nice. And also, our wage budget next season is going to be £7.25,000 per week. However, we're committed currently to be spending £7,403. So there still could be some wages that need to be cut and players that perhaps need to be sold. So the youth candidates have now been evaluated, and there's quite a few good looking players here. So I'll just quickly run through them. We've got Utpal Kumar here, who's a 15-year-old goalkeeper. His handling is already 14. His reflexes are 11. He's got determination of 14. Our youth intake looks like it could propel us to winning the league title next season. I've said it. We could be playing quite a few youth players next season in the first team. Bit annoying that it's another goalkeeper, but Satish Ganesh is another 15-year-old who is, again, his handling is 11, reflexes of 11 as well, aerial reach of 11. The only issue is his determination. If we can have some of the more senior players rub their determination off on him, then that would be great for Satish. Ronaldo Kumar is a 15-year-old striker who's just been brought in the youth intake as well. His finishing is his standout here, 11 finishing, 8 first touch and 8 technique are good to start with for a 15-year-old, and his determination of 15 suggests that he's going to be determined to improve them as well. Narishman Kunayil is a 15-year-old centre-back. His tackling is 11 at 15 years old. That looks amazing, and I'm getting very excited about the all our youth candidates that we've managed to sign here. Another one, David Leonal Praveen, crossing 9, first touch 9, heading 9, passing 11, technique 14. He's 15 years old. Again, determination is quite low, so that's something to be concerned about. I hope that he can improve on these attributes that he's got at such a young age. And then, of course, there's Srikanth Kutimani, who I showed you in the last episode. His attributes don't look as good now. I've seen all of those other ones, but still pretty decent for a 15-year-old. 9 first touch, 9 free kick taken, 8 passing, technique of 14, determination of 16 as well, so he's only going to get better and better. this is very intriguing, because I feel like I could probably get away with putting quite a few of these in my starting lineup and not lose out. In fact, it would probably improve the team. So that could be what you could be expecting to see in next season's matches. But here we go. Here's the awards. The awards have come in finally. So the Indian National Football League Player of the Year is Kamran Tursunov, 22 goals and 19 appearances for the eventual league champions. You can't really argue with that one. He's also managed to pick up the National Football League Foreign Player of the Year too, thanks to those performances. And of course the Top Goal Scorer Award, because he scored the most goals. Naraka have won the Fair Play Award. We finished in third place in that. I guess it's our yellow cards that affected that. Obviously, we didn't get anyone sent off this season, but we did pick up quite a few yellows. There's a few more awards, of course, that have been announced as well. The Indian National Football League Emerging Player of the Year award has gone to Narendra Galot, who plays for Aizawl FC. And Pradhan Mariadasan has won the Young Player of the Year award. So we'll congratulate him on that. We'll put an arm around him. We're going to say, well done, pal. And he's quite positive about that. Goalkeeper of the Year goes to Vishal Kaith, who plays for Real Kashmir. He conceded the same number of goals as our keeper did. So I don't know how he's managed to wangle that. Pradhan Mariadasan wins Defender of the Year, much deserved. Mohamed Fatah, who plays for Mohammedan. Yeah, he looks pretty good. Midfielder of the Year. And Kamran Tursunov, of course, wins Forward of the Year. So I think we'll leave that there for this season review episode. I've just been informed that we actually, the season's technically finished, but we still have the Federation Cup to play, which we start in the quarter-final. That starts in May. So if we get to the semi-final of that, I will be back with the semi-final of the Federation Cup. If not, I'll be back with the first match of the next season, and we'll talk through any transfers that have been made and how pre-season went and everything like that. But that is it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel to get all my content when it comes out, hit the bell to stay notified, and I'll see you next time.